Chainlink Thursday update for September 4th. This video, we're going to focus on the 4-hour chart, the daily chart, and then at the end, we're going to zoom out to the macro and look at Link versus Bitcoin and see what kind of valuations we're looking at towards the end of cycle. So we're going to start here on the 4-hour. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Follow us on Twitter, X, Telegram, link below, Patreon if you want more content, educational help. Let's get right to it. 4-hour chart. After rejecting here over the past 24 hours, and as we get to the daily, we'll see why we rejected where we did. But if we turn on the Gaussian channel here, right, this is pretty telling here. Where did our wick go to? Right to the median Gaussian channel, where it's right there where you start to turn more bullish or show your true colors. So right now, we're in a downtrend. We rejected right where we needed to hold the line and didn't. So that becomes our new kind of pivot point. If we want the bulls to show back up for Chainlink, and obviously we do, we've got to overtake that. So it's around $24. If we just get back above 24, you can see our kind of double range highs here. Not a double top yet. Now this would confirm as a local double top if we close below this low. So that becomes our primary focus. And if we zoom out a little bit, we can paint a very clear line in the sand of our initial local highs here after liftoff back in early August. We made our initial kind of hesitation right here, and that became our new low over here. And now what do we see is we have this pink line, which is the 200 EMA. So I would say that's going to be our new target support zone, right, for the foreseeable future, or maybe early future. As we seem to be, moving down. We're down about 2% on this 4-hour candle alone. We close this in 45 minutes. So once you watch this, we'll see where we close. Now, keep in mind, we could get a wick under this and it's no problem, but we just don't want to be closing under this zone around 2250. If we start to close under that, right, you'd have to zoom out. Like, where's our next lows? Well, this is what we've talked about pretty much all week, right, with our daily updates. We have our initial low there. We have another low close here. We have some more low clusters there. This becomes our little bit bigger zone. So from 2150, if we breach 2250, right, it's a higher probability, right? That's all we have in trading is, take your odds. And so we're looking at another 4 to 6% roughly to get to that zone. If we breach that as our lows, because that would just continue our trend, right? We're making lows and lower lows, highs, lower highs, rejecting off median Gaussian channels, right? That's not helping us. So we have target 1 here. That needs to hold us support. And then maybe we're just kind of range bound, right? We're kind of rectangular range bound. We could even drag this over here, right? We have our kind of flat highs. And maybe we could see kind of flat lows, which this would be great because in the macro, these kind of base building, right, that would be kind of this, maybe look like some kind of a round and going into, later September, if we could kind of start to chisel our way back up, get through the median Gaussian channel, right, turn all bullish, even kind of right where prices are now. If we just give it enough time, this 200, if we can hold that, everything will be great. So I would watch for that. But make no mistake, if we lose this, right, we're likely going lower. We just have nothing holding us up, right? And this becomes even more evident as we zoom out to the daily. You can see now, like, why are we so weak? Well, we looked at this, in previous videos, where if you start to close under the 21 EMA on any chart, right, you're really have lost a lot of momentum. So we really did that back at the weekly close here Sunday, and we've been struggling to kind of overcome it as of late, right? All this week we've just kind of chopped around it, and now as of today, so far, right, we haven't closed. We still have almost half the day left, but we're trying to get back above there. It doesn't seem like it's likely to happen today, right? But here's our lines here, and now we see where we last held the EMA 34. We're coming in hot to that. So that's around, again, around 2250. The low close here, 2250. Same spot. Range highs on our initial kind of move up here, right? We zoom out, right? That was our initial hesitation. Our low close here. Maybe on the daily we can get a little bit higher. See a low wick, some high close, bullish close, right? Somewhere in this area. We also have the top of the daily Gaussian channel. We have the 50-day EMA right here around 2150, which is our, again, low close there. So if we breach 2250, there's the 50 EMA, about $1 lower. If we breach that, okay, then we'd be in the Gaussian channel. And what else do we have to go off of? It's our previous range highs. Right, so here's our next zone. And coincidentally, we have the 100-day EMA in the blue there, and the median daily Gaussian channel probably going to be right around that level. The $19.50 to $20, which if you've been watching any of these videos, that's kind of the monthly macro line in the sand. So this is my worst case scenario for Chainlink for all of September, really. If we're going to go down, this is likely where we will hold. Not just because of this little zone here on the daily, but the monthly, as I'll show you momentarily. So if we can't hold here, we have a next spot. Our next ladder down is here. If we can't hold that, our next spot down is here, and that will likely hold. So as of right now, that's maybe additional, 15% or so from where we are. Like worst case. We could easily hold here, right? If we bounce, if Bitcoin kind of holds steady, if Bitcoin goes down just a little bit, maybe we get that, which would, ultimately be a higher low. But Chainlink's trying to find its footing now. It's a little bit lost in the woods because it's, chopping around that 21. No big deal, right? We're just consolidating after this, pretty stellar move here, right? We went up 80% in just over 2.5 weeks. We're allowed to have a little bit of a breath and some consolidation before likely moving higher, right? And, if you haven't caught any of those previous videos, right, here's the monthly just real quick, right, looking at range highs. So that move back down to that 1950 level, right? Our previous range highs here, our initial back from 2020, the first time we ever saw something above $20, right? This is a pretty monumental line, right? Range high closes for the cycle, right? Initially starting off on the bull cycle, range lows to end out the last bull cycle, right? The low closes and the initial high wick. That's a pretty big level. All right. So now we're on the monthly. Let's just go look at Link Bitcoin and see where we're at, right? Let's clear off the Gaussian. It's not really helping us. But let's look at these valuations, right? Here's our Fibonacci scale, right? This specifically is where I'm kind of targeting for a Link BTC final valuation between now and, whenever the cycle ends, probably in the next 4 to 6 months. Like this, the end of this bar is in March. I have a feeling we'll peak before then, but we'd love to spill over into that. So this end of the year is right here, just a little bit shy of that. But let's look at these valuations, right? High wave wicks here from early 2024, high close here from the end of the bear market, and a lot of price action here going back, almost 5 years here, right? So the odds of us getting above this with a close is pretty remote. But like you might be asking yourself, who cares? What is my USD valuation? Well, you need to be looking at your altcoins and Bitcoin valuation. That's always a good thing to do. And then you want your coins obviously outperforming Bitcoin. Otherwise, you probably should just be holding Bitcoin. But Link has not done a very good job of that as of late. Now, early Chainlink, hell yeah. Look at the peak valuation, 1700. Where do we just bottom at? 100. Wow, that's down over 90% loss of value against Bitcoin. That's not great. But right, we can't do anything about that now. What happens if we get back to this level? Well, let's say Bitcoin ends the cycle at 150K and Chainlink gets back to exactly the 0.5 Fib at 431. What's that USD valuation? So you can do the math on that. You just take $150,000, right? And then multiply that by 0.000431. that gets you a rough $65 Chainlink. If we think Bitcoin's going to go to like 175,000, right? 25K higher. You do the same math, and that gets you about a $75 Chainlink, okay? Maybe we wick higher. Could we wick up to the 618? Maybe. Could we wick up to the 382? Maybe. I would guess at least the 382, if not somewhere in between there. This is still my target, right? This seems like the more important target at the 0.5 fib. $65. If you had to time me down, I think that's a pretty good spot. If you're wanting a $100 Chainlink, it's gotta see some kind of high wave wick like this, which is still possible for sure. But we're kind of running out of time here, right? So we've got to make some big moves, and I still think Q4 is going to see some big moves. We don't have to get anything, you know, super crazy. I mean, if we just mimic for 3 months these three guys, if we start kind of right here, look where it gets us here, right? So we're still knocking on that wheelhouse. We could see a wick up in this area as well. And if Bitcoin goes to 170K-ish and we get up to, you know, 520, 530, maybe knock on the door of the 618. Yeah, the 100's still possible. But what if we come down here, like worst case? What if Chainlink can't put in the moves against Bitcoin, or it runs out of time and we only get to the 382 at this? What is that going to give us? Is that even above $30? Is it $40? Well, it's just shy of 50 actually. It's like $48 if Bitcoin gets to 150K, and Chainlink tops out right here, like we did back in, you know, late last year. If we get there again late this year, December, right? That's almost a $50 USD valuation, assuming Bitcoin gets to 150K. So just for what that's worth, this is what we're looking like. Link Bitcoin. And just a cheat sheet on that, if you haven't realized it, you can just do that, right? And flip back and forth and not look at the actual pairings. Sometimes that gets confusing, or you have to go type in the pairing. You don't have to do that anymore. I think TradingView has changed that over the past year or so. Okay, so now we're back to the monthly link, and you know, this is where we are. Volatility expected, right? The weekly, we've looked at this. Like, we're probably going to tag the EMA 8, which is no big deal. It's 2150. We'd like to hold that. We don't really want to close under there. Or we're probably going to hit the 21 EMA, which, give it another couple weeks, maybe it's around that $19.50 to $20 level. No surprises. Chainlink's doing what it needs to do just fine. We're working on that W pattern. This is expected, as we've talked about in all our videos. So still high hopes for Chainlink. 65 plus. That's still another 3x from here, right? All right. So that's where we're at for this very fine Thursday. If you want to see the quote and card of the day, stick around. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel. We also are doing a live stream tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to request some altcoins, tune in for that. All right, quote of the day. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. Wow, you didn't think you're going to get a history lesson here, but here we are. I just read them, folks. I don't make them up. I don't pick them. This one I did pick. I just searched for Corvette. I was going to do Corvettes, and then I just sorted by highest price. This came up, so I was like, okay, we'll do that. 1958, and without a speck of dust on it. This is why the high valuation. Not going to find too many of these rolling around, but maybe zero. 450K is, it's up there, folks. I think you could probably buy this for about $6,000 back when it was new. And, you know, I always say, like, a lot of people don't fully appreciate high-end cars like this. They think, I would never spend that much money on that. You're not spending it. You're just parking it here. You're not going to lose money on this, right? These kind of cars appreciate in value if you know what you're doing. Just like trading, maybe. If you know what you're doing, right? You usually make money. But this is where we are, right? You're not spending 450K. You're parking your money here just like anything else, right? You're probably going to make more money from buying this than you would keeping 450K in your local bank account. It's ungodly good condition, is it not? I mean, I haven't seen anything wrong with it. what you would expect from $450,000 car that's sold. But looks fantastic. They only have 6 pictures. I apologize. Normally like many more pictures, but we can assume it's pretty damn good. Inside and out. I would like to see the inside though. Looks pretty great. All right, that's where we're at. 450K Corvette. Chainlink. We'll see you on the Friday video. Thanks for watching this long if you have. 47 Corvettes. Not in this. We can't afford this one yet. 47 of these. That math doesn't math.